Hello and welcome to our discussions on the demystifying Hindu rituals and mythological stories. Today I'd like to discuss about the DASAVATARAs of Vishnu, or the 10 incarnations of Vishnu. And this is, many people consider this an evolutionary journey of the human beings from its early beginnings in the ocean to the modern man. And we will go through that, the chronological progression of the avatars, and it's important to go in the particular chronology because obviously it is talking about an evolutionary progression of our awareness. So let's just list the avatars and then we'll discuss it a little bit more. The first avatara is the Matsya avatara, or the fish avatara, which is the beginning of life in the ocean or the water. Then the second avatara is the Kurma avatara, or the tortoise avatara, where life progressed to being an amphibian, where partly in the water and partly on land. The third avatara is the Varaha avatara, or the wild boar, where the transition to a land animal was complete, but it was of course the wild animal in the wild. After the Varaha avatara is the Narasimha avatara, which is half man and half lion. Of course, we know that that is not possible, but we have to look at it symbolically. What he's saying is the progression of our awareness, consciousness from the pure animal instinctual living to growing towards the human cognitive faculties and towards free will, choice, and intention. Because as we all know that we have two very primal instincts, that of food and sex. Food protects us and sex protects our species. So we have to grow out of just an instinctual living. The next one is the Vamana avatara, or the dwarf avatara, where it's a small man, meaning that we are going towards being a man. It's a primate stage, but we are not completely the modern man. After the Vamana avatara, the dwarf avatara, is the Parsurama avatara, which is an avatara where he's holding an axe, because Parasu means axe, Parsurama. And he is Parsurama is known to be the Rishi Raj, the opposite of Raj Rishi. But Rishi Raj he is supposed to embody both the Brahminical tendencies and the Kshatriya tendency. The Brahminical tendencies meaning our desire and our impulse towards intellectual growth and learning more about ourself, about the realities of life and the existential questions. And the Kshatriya is that one who upholds the social value. In that avatara, Parsuram was known to have decimated the Kshatriya class because they had completely gone berserk and were arrogant and insolent, and they were, instead of upholding social order and dharma, they were just using their power wrongly. So it is a message that, from the half animal, half man, we have gone to a small man, which is just the basis of, breaking free from instinctual living, to a man that is just driven by desires, has no rules. And he's also known, it can also be interpreted as, the axe can also be interpreted as our Paleolithic past, where we lived in the Stone Age with very primal weapons and things to help us. Next comes the Rama avatara after Parsurama, where the progression is towards a civilized society, the rule of law. Ram avatara is known as the Maryada Purushottam, the one that upholds the law at any cost. Even at personal distress and disappointment, he will live by the rules of the law. Also, if you look at his the weapon that he holds, weapon of choice, is bow and arrow, which signifies a progression towards more refined weapons, where the hunter-gatherer, from the Stone Age to the hunter-gatherer. And then comes the Krishna Avatara, which is the closest to the modern man, where Krishna is not known to use any weapons as such, but use his intellect, his ability to reason, to rationalize, and logic and diplomacy to achieve the goals that he wanted to establish and uphold. And after that, after the Ram Avatara is the Balaram Avatara, which is he's represented as holding a plow, which is a transition from the hunter stage to the agrarian society. Plow, for agriculture. After the Balaram Avatar is the Krishna Avatara, which is the more modern man, where diplomacy and intellectualism was honored, because the agrarian society was still a simpler society. And then is the Kalki Avatara, the 10th Avatara, which is not has not manifested yet, but it is predicted. Now, some sources make a slight difference. Instead of Ram, from the Ram Avatara to the Balaram to the Krishna and Kalki, they bring in Buddha Avatara. After Ram, Balaram, there is Buddha Avatara, or another source is Ram, Krishna, and Buddha Avatara. That doesn't really make much of a difference, because we are talking about a steady progression of our awareness and consciousness, and Buddha definitely represents a high degree of awareness and consciousness, where you transcend the basic instinct, the material and physical existence, and strive towards spiritual enhancement. Ultimately, it matters less whether these were really true, when it happened, because it is giving a narrative for us to think, pause, and reflect. It is a mapping of the progression of our awareness and consciousness. And when people ask me, how does it help in today's life and modern life? Well, if you take some time and you reflect and you figure out, you read a little bit, understand these avatars a little bit, reflect upon them, and figure out where in this range or map of consciousness you are currently figuring. Of course, you are not in the basic Matsya Avatara or the Kurma Avatara, or for that matter, the wild boar, the wild animal Avatara. But very many people can actually identify the Narasimha Avatara inside that. They have a very strong instinctual living. They haven't spent time getting control over their mind. The mind still rules them. And then, to be able to harness anger and very strong negative emotions that animals don't have control over that, so something to consider. Or whether you are at the Vamana Avatar, which is we are human beings, but are we really living at our highest potential, or just bare human beings to use our mind, our intellect, our spirituality to live at our highest possible, highest potential? And then to think whether you are at the Rama Avatara stage, where you live by the rules and establish and protect and fight for the rule of law, and even at the cost of personal disappointment and problem, but honoring the rule of law. Then are you able to go to the level of Krishna, where you are able to use your mind and your intellect to find creative solutions, bring in diplomacy to find solutions to your problems or global problems? And then finally, are you at the Buddha Avatara? How much time do you spend raising your consciousness to the level that Buddha did, to transcend our lower physical, limited, negative self? So this is a great segue to actually start your spiritual journey, to sit down, read a little bit more about the avatars, reflect where you are on this map of consciousness, and what you can do to advance your spirituality. As always, I look forward to, encourage, and welcome comments on what you thought, and if you would like me to clarify on something, or if you would like me to even address some issues that has baffled you, I would be happy to give it a shot. And if you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to it if you'd like to be notified of future videos discussing these kind of topics. Until then, please take care of yourself and commit a little time to your spiritual growth. Thank you.